Good afternoon. I hope that y'all are having a great week this week. Jeremy asked me a couple weeks ago if I would do the devotional for this week, and I kept thinking, what am I going to talk about? And one night in the middle of the night, the Lord woke me up. Don't you love the way how He does that? Wakes you up in the middle of the night and says, this is what you need to talk about. So He reminded me of an experience that I had a couple of years ago when my husband and I went to Montana, and some friends of ours had suggested that we go canoeing. And I said, I haven't done that since I was in high school. And my husband and I had never canoed together at all. And our friend said, I think it'll be a very good experience. You know, every couple should have to do this once in their life because it will teach you about each other. Little did I know the truth would come from that. So we go out, we start canoeing, and we're in Montana, and it looks like we're in the middle of the Caribbean. The water is blue, it's beautiful, it's calm, and it's easy. So we start out canoeing. We go into this little cove. It's very shallow. We eat a picnic lunch, and we just are having the best time. We got to the other side of the lake, which was about 2 miles down, 2 miles across, and then we make the turn to come back. And guess what? The winds from the mountain come up and they come across the lake, and all of a sudden this simple little easy trip became hard work. It felt like we were in the middle of a storm and not going anywhere. And so our friends kind of pull up just beside us. He's very natural. He's an outdoorsman, and he says, I think we need to go across the lake to the cove little area and hover the line of the mountains because the winds won't be so bad coming off. So here we are going across the wind to the lake, to the other side of the lake, and we get to the other side and we take a rest because it is hard work going against the wind. And we decide that we're going to take a rest for a minute, and I put my feet in the water, and the water is 50 degrees. It's freezing. And I knew that there was no way that I could swim because I'm thinking I'm just going to pull this boat along the side of the shore and I'm going to swim across and we're just going to pull it. Well, we couldn't do that because we were going to die of hypothermia. So here we go in the middle of the lake. Our friends take off. They make it look easy and natural. My husband and I get to the middle of the lake, and I swear we were going around in circles, and I'm sure there were people on the side of the shore having a very good laugh at us. In fact, a couple of times we went into the cove and there were people along the lines, and I'm sure they were looking at us like, these people are crazy. They don't know what they're doing. And they were right, we didn't. It reminds me of a story in Matthew 8:23 through 27, where Jesus is calming the storms. The disciples had just been with Jesus and had seen all these miracles be performed. He had seen them heal the leopard. He had seen them heal the centurion's servant, and he had seen them heal many others. And then he gives this command to follow me. So the disciples get in the boat with Jesus, just like I got in the boat with my husband, had full confidence, got in the boat with Jesus. They go out into the middle of the lake, and all of a sudden the storm comes up. And what happened? Let me read it to you. And when he got into the boat, his disciples followed him, and behold, arose a great storm on the sea, so that the boat was beginning to be swamped by the waves, but Jesus was asleep. And they went to him and they woke him up, saying, Lord, save us, we are perishing. And then he said to them, why are you so afraid, O you of little faith? Then he arose and rebuked the winds and the sea, and there was great calm. And the men marveled, saying, what sort of man was this, that even the winds and the sea obey him? You see, the disciples, they consciously got in the boat. They felt very comfortable with the Lord. They had followed him. They were not afraid. But guess what happened? As soon as they got in the middle and the storms of life where it became personal, the terror and the fear set in. I can tell you that being in the middle of the lake on that day, there were many times that I was frustrated, I was afraid, I was fearful, and I wondered if I was ever going to make it back, to be honest. And my husband finally said, just stop. Just stop what you're doing. You're making it worse. Just stop. Let me guide you. Let me lead you. My husband told me just to stop. And isn't that what Jesus did? He had just stopped. He was with them. He never left them. He was asleep. He was still there. They weren't alone. They had their source of protection with them, but yet they were still afraid. Don't you know that sometimes the Lord can be silent and still be working with us at the same time? His plans are sufficient enough for us to guide us through these storms that we're in. Immediately, the disciples, what did they do? In fear and panic, they immediately went, and with one swift move, the Lord made everything calm and perfect. Don't you see? They watched Jesus in one command, take care of everything. But in faith, it's not that easy, is it? We always go to the Lord and say, please help us. But sometimes we have to walk through these storms in life. Our faith is not going to eliminate these storms. They're not going to change them. They're not going to take them away, but they're going to make us stronger. We must choose to exercise our faith, just like the disciples had to exercise their faith. It had to become personal. It had to become real with them before they would be willing to challenged and be changed. And their faith grew that day, and it was a personal experience for them. Many times when we have these storms in life, the storms are what most impact us to make us to turn to the Lord. And that's exactly what they had to do. They had to turn. So not only did they have to have faith, but they had to turn to the source of protection and for the faith. Stephen Cole says, we can all fake it in the calm waters. We can impress others at how together we seem to be. The disciples could cope with the normal storms quite well. They had been in storms of their lives their whole life. They were boat keepers. They knew how to take care of all the boats and to weather the storms. The problem is they didn't know how to handle it when it became personal. Often a crisis shows us the sides of ourselves where we're blind to. The Lord uses it to reveal new areas that we need to learn. So I'm going to ask you, where is your faith? Where do you lack faith when you're in the middle of a storm? Are you faking it? Are you hoping that you make it back like I was that day? Was I hoping that I can make it back? Or was I really willing to put my trust in the Lord and just stop and listen to what He had to say to me and let Him lead me and guide me and direct me? Because see, it was when I did that, my frustration level went down and He got me back. As you can see, I made it back to the shore. I got back, but the Lord taught me a lesson that day that I need to be willing to put my faith out there enough that I would trust Him in everything, even in those simple storms of life. And it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy or that it's going to be simple to walk through, but He will guide us through it and take us to that place, the place of rest, the place of healing. And that's what we need. And so I would like to challenge you. Are there areas in your life that maybe you need to just ask the Lord to reveal that maybe you have some blindness to? Or is there a situation that you're not feeling comfortable with that you need to take to the Lord and you haven't gone to the one who can give you those words of wisdom, but instead you've gone to others? So Jesus, all He had to do was with one simple command, calm the storms. And that's what I'm going to ask you. Are you calming the storm today with Him?